Question number 2070. Question 45. The economy's GNI per capita based on purchasing power parity has increased over a period of time, but its development measured by the Human Development Index has remained unchanged. What would you explain the difference? Think, guys. Now I want you all to practically think, right? How do you form the Human Development Index? By looking at health, education, standard of living. Health, you look at the life expectancy. Okay, life, just say life EXP. Education, you look at the mean and the expected years of schooling, right? Standard of living, you look at the purchasing power parity per capita GNI. Okay. Now they are saying, right? Understand the question properly. They are saying country's GNI per capita on purchasing power parity has increased. This has increased. And that means standard of living has gone up. But its development measured by the Human Development Index remain unchanged. How, guys? Now, this is where you use your common sense. How come even though standard of living, purchasing power parity per capita GNI went up, how did the Human Development Index remain unchanged? Because what do you think would have happened? Something else would have fallen, right? Don't you agree? Either maybe life expectancy fell, right? Or maybe this education segment fell. So overall, your Human Development Index remain unchanged. So Sri Lanka's Human Development Index value is 0.78. This number remain unchanged even though this increased. So I think your answer line has to be one of those green things. Which one, guys? Increase the number of expected years of schooling? No. If it increase, then Human Development Index will go up. Decline in the life expectancy? B, right? Can be number 2. Decrease in adult literacy, literacy doesn't connect here. Increase in inflation doesn't connect. Population growth doesn't connect. Do you understand, guys? It's not very hard, but it's a good MCQ. There, made you think a little. You need to know may components. One has increased, but then how did the human development still remain the same? Because something of the other would have fallen. So which one fell? Either life expectancy would have fallen, or either mean and the expected years of schooling would have fallen. That's why Human Development Index did not change. How many of you all got that correct? Life expectancy is HDI component, yeah? Then how can it be fallen? So because the HDI remained the same, no? Think as logical, try to understand the question. In the question, they are saying the purchasing power parity has increased. So this component has increased. So if this component increased, Human Development Index should also increase. No? But they are saying even though this increased, the Human Development Index remained unchanged. This was unchanged. So how come the third component has gone up but the Human Development Index remaining unchanged? What should have happened? What should have happened is either the health or life expectancy should have fallen, or the mean years of education should have fallen. That's why the final figure remain unchanged. Now this is like your take your report card value. See, they are saying your marks for economics increased, but your total marks for all the subjects remain the same. Right? In your report, you get a total. So marks for economics increased and the total mark remained the same, means the other two would have fallen. No, either BS marks fell or accounts marks fell. Same logic over here. Right? Now, right. 46. Hiyo. Lorentz curve is a diagram that depicts the distribution of household income. How is Gini coefficient of the income inequality measured? How do you calculate? Be very careful, not A divided by B. Look at what is A and B. In my diagram, A and B was different. In this diagram, see what is A and B. Don't just say, sir said A divided by A plus B. Look at the diagram. Here, A is something else. Right? They will label it in a different way. So it's what case? It's the area of this, right? Area of D divided by the whole area, right? So it should be B divided by B plus C. So answer number 4. Very simple, right? Can you see? These are questions. These are actually A-level questions. These are IOSD A-levels. No? You ever wondered how I got high marks? If they ask questions like this, you think who can't get high marks? 47. Table below presents data relating to hypothetical economy, labor force participation. Working age population is given, unemployment is given, rate of employment. How do you find labor force participation rate? Labor force divided by working age population. Okay. Now, working age population, they have given 25 million. Labor force, they have not given. How can you calculate this? Labor force is addition of employed and unemployed. That also they have not given. They have said unemployed is 3, right? There are 3 million people unemployed. Employed, how many also they have not given, but they have said rate of employment is 80%. Yes, if the rate of employment is 80%, how much is the rate of unemployment? Rate of unemployment should be 20%. So now use a little bit of common sense, guys. Now these are your maths coming. If 3 million people represent 20%, how many million people should represent the 80%? This should be 12 million here, right? You'll understand. So then how much is your total labor force? Your total labor force here. You'll get that story. So your total labor force should be a 15 million. Think, they have given you rate of employment. Employment rate 80 kiyanne balance is unemployed. So 20% is unemployed. So they have said 3 million unemployed. So 20% equals 3 million. Then that means how much is 100% equal? That's the total labor force. 100% is 15 million. 80% is 12 million. Got it? So use a little bit of math. Okay. So how much is my labor force? 15 million. So calculate, guys, labor force participation rate. 15 over 25 into 100. That is a here 60. Can't be 50, no? It's more than 50. That's a 60%. Answer number 5. Okay. 48. Now, this one again outdated 2012 and 13. We don't want. According to the household income expenditure survey, 3 districts with the highest poverty headcount, right? We'll look at the district. Now, can you see from that survey, right? For the last few years, how much questions they asked, right? 1 year they asked which district had the high, which province had the highest. 1 year they asked rural, urban, and estate. Now they are asking which district. So we'll look at the latest 2019 poverty headcount. What are the 3 districts, guys, with the highest poverty headcount? I showed this to you all a few weeks ago also in the class. Kauda. Here, number 1, there was one fellow with 44. Who is the most poorest fellow? Mullaitivu. In Mullaitivu, 44.5% are in poverty. So from 100 people, 44.5 people are in poverty. Mullaitivu number 1, right? With the highest poverty headcount. Then number 2, Kauda. Number 2, check. Whom do we have? Badulla. Where is Badulla? Badulla. 32.3%. Yes, I'm hoping you all just make notes, right? Badulla, 32.3. They are the second highest poverty headcount index. Number 1, Mullaitivu. Number 2, Badulla. Who is number 3? Nuwara 26.3. Kilinochchi, where is Kilinochchi? Kilinochchi 26.4. Kilinochchi is a little bit higher, no? So maybe Kilinochchi, right? Or see if there's anyone higher than that. No, 24th, 26, right? So Kilinochchi. So Kilinochchi is number 3. So according to our new survey, who are the number 3 guys? Who are the highest? Highest is Mullaitivu, right? Number 1. After Mullaitivu, you have Kauda, you have Badulla. After Badulla, whom do you have? Number 3, you have Kilinochchi, right? So this is according to what? The 2019 survey. This is what they can ask you. So answer for this, I don't know for 2012-13, that is outdated. For us, we have to learn 2019, maybe 2 years later. Head count means, guys, how many people? Head means people, head, number of heads. So out of the total population, how many people are in poverty? So in Mullaitivu, it is 44.5%. What does that mean? In Mullaitivu, from Mullaitivu's population, 44.5% are in poverty. Poverty head count ratio or the poverty head count percentage. So from the population of Mullatiu, 44.5 people are in poverty. Okay, so Badulla was how much? I think 32.5. Kilinotsi was 26.4, was it? I'm hoping the numbers are correct. So these are the 2019 highest three. Okay, so maybe in your year they can ask the lowest three, 32.3. Sorry, 32.3. Okay, right. Who are the lowest three? These are the highest three. Lowest three. Lowest is in Colombo. Colombo only has 2.3% in poverty, right? So lowest, remember, poverty head count is in Colombo. So only 2.3 people in Colombo are in poverty. Number one, Colombo. Number two, Gampaha. In Gampaha, only 5.7 people are in poverty, right? Then number three, you have Mana is at 8%. Anuradhapura 8.1, Mana, no? So Mana is number three. Kaltara here, Kaltara is 12.2, no? So Mana is number three. Okay, so now that can be. Now no one will think of Mana, no? Everyone will know Colombo and this one. So be very careful. No one else, no? Right. So we'll jot that down also. This is the highest. Then lowest. Number one lowest is Colombo. Number two lowest is Gampaha. Number three lowest poverty head count is from Mana. Okay, fine. Right, just have that in mind. Okay, 49. Despite the reduction in absolute poverty level of Sri Lanka, significant income inequalities continue to persist. This is confirmed by the percentage of total household income held by the richest 10%. Guys, how much do you think, guys? In Sri Lanka, the richest 10%, how much of the income do you think they are getting? From the total income. This is connected to the Lorentz curve and all of that. Richest 10% people, around how much? The richest 20%, guys get around 57. This is the richest 20% of the population. If the richest 20% is getting around 50%, how much is the top richest 10 people are getting? Richest 10%, guys, if I'm not mistaken, they are getting around 38%. This is your answer. 38, just take the basket, we always in 28. I think it's 38. Can't be 28. Thing is, richest 20% is getting 57. So that doesn't mean it's half. No. So the richest 10% should get even, right? 10%. Now see, if you put them on a scale, right? Poorest 10%, 20%, 30%, right? So this is the 80th person, this is the 90th person, this is the 100th person. So they are saying the richest 20% of the people are getting around 57% of the total income. If the richest 20% are getting this much, the richest 10% are getting here. So in Sri Lanka, roughly around richest 10% gets around 38% of the total in. You just have a ID. Yeah. Poorest people, how much are they getting? It's there in your theory tube, guys. Unit number 11 and 12. I think I highlighted this in the fast track also. Poorest people. Poorest 10%. 1 point something. Check. Open your tube and check. The poorest 10%, 0 to 10, these people are getting only 1.8%. The poorest 20%, no, this poorest 20%, how much are they getting? If I'm not mistaken, 4 point, no, not 10%, can't be that high. It was 1.8 plus 3 point something. See, 4.7 hari somewhere close to 5. Poorest 20%. At the first decile and the second decile, you should get the number. First decile is 0 to 10. I remember that tute that I had. Poorest 10%. Second decile is the 10 to 20th person. At the 2 percentages, you should get the top 20. 5%? No. So poorest 20% is getting only around 5% of the income. See, in Sri Lanka, the richest 20% are getting 57% of the total income. Poorest 20% are getting only 5% of the total income. So look at the income disparity. Richest 20%, 57%. Poorest 20% are getting only 5% of the income. Then if you take 10%, so richest 10% is getting 58. Sorry, richest 20% are getting, richest 10% are getting 38. Poorest 10% is getting only 1.8. Right? So the balance is the middle, right? So 5 and 57, you add, what is the difference? So between 20 to 80, this is like the middle people. So 57, 62, they should be getting around another 38%. So the people between 20 to 80, they should be getting around another 30. That's how the income has been distributed in Sri Lanka. So have an idea, can be a question in your paper. Okay, now 49 done, we go to 50. Which of the following is not a major obstacle? Not an obstacle to attract foreign direct investment. Not an obstacle. Unstable macroeconomic conditions. Do you think that's an obstacle? When you have unstable macroeconomic objectives, that is an obstacle, right? No one will want to come, no, inflation is going crazy, right? This is an obstacle. Okay. Labor market rigidity. Let's say there's so much of rigidity, right? If you want to hire people, so much of rules and regulations, right? You can only make the people work for, let's say, 8 hours a day, right? You pay minimum wage, this much, so much of rules and regulations in labor market. Is that an obstacle? Can be, guys. Now think of Bangladesh. Why do you think Bangladesh is attracting a lot of foreign direct investment? Because they don't have any proper rules and regulations, right? Workers can work any amount of times, right? So a lot of foreign companies like to start their factory in Bangladesh. No labor market issues. Okay, so labor market rigidity is also an obstacle. We are looking for something that is not an obstacle. Uncertainty of policies. Do you think that's an obstacle? So today government says income tax rate is 10%. Next month they say corporate income tax are 20%. After they again come and say that is 30%. Right? They keep on changing these policies. Is that an obstacle? That is an obstacle, guys. Because when you're coming into a country, right, you want some sort of certainty. Now, if let's say I'm going to start a factory somewhere. So I will do my calculations and see, right, okay, income tax rate is okay, 30%. Right, according to that only, I will see whether my business is profitable or not. Should I actually go and invest in that company? Now, every month or something, if the country keeps changing the policies, right? Today they say this one, tomorrow they say, if you're exporting something, you have to pay this much, you have to do this, right? If they have so much of uncertain policy, every month they come up with new stuff, no people will come and invest in the country, guys. So foreign direct investments can't come in if there is uncertainty. So uncertainty of policies is also an obstacle. This is also an obstacle. Then number 4, lack of diversification in the export sector. Now our export sector is not diversified, right? We only export mainly clothes and tea and stuff. Is that an obstacle? Is that an obstacle for a foreign country to come and set up and have foreign direct investments in Sri Lanka? Not really, right? Just because our export sector is not diversified, why is that an obstacle for them to come here? Not real obstacle. So this can be your answer. Number 5, corruption and weak regulation. Definitely obstacle, right? Imagine if you're coming to Sri Lanka, you have to pay bribes, and one fellow says, if you don't come in, right, the politician will say, right, you have to pay me 10 million, then only I will approve you all to come in, right? So much of corruption, definitely obstacle. So which of this is not an obstacle? Lack of diversity. Now, lack of diversity is bad for a country, fine. But that is not an obstacle to attract foreign direct investment. Just because your exports are not diversified, you can't say that there won't be foreign direct investment. Okay? Right. That's question number 50. Okay. How well did you all do? Labor market rigidity, yes, definitely obstacle, right? Rigidity means very hard to change, right? So much of rules, regulations. That's what you call labor market rigidity. So if you have so much rules, regulations and all, people don't want to come. Okay, right. That's the thing. What is 47? Yes, 47 is a very easy one, right? It's normal of our this thing. I'll quickly summarize 47 again. They're asking for labor force participation rate. Labor force participation rate is labor force divided by the working age population. Working age population, they gave 25. Labor force, we don't know, we have to find. You know, labor force is the addition of employed and unemployed people. They are saying unemployed 3 people, employment rate is 80%. So if the employment rate is 80%, automatically unemployment rate is 20%. So if 20% is 3, how much is the balance? 80%. 20% equals to 3 million. 80% is equal to 12 million. So total labor force is therefore 15 million. That's how other 15 comes over here. Okay. Let's see how much you'll get. You'll get all correct. So these are the year that I also did A level. So if you can get all correct, you're also at my level. I think I got all correct, or maybe would have got around 1 or 2 wrong. Out of the 6 questions. Now, remember, I did A levels after doing mock exams, everything. This is before you all do mock exams. So out of the 6, if you at least got 5 or 6, I think you're at a very good level. How much did you all get? 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50. 5 or 6, very good level. At least 4, I think, is acceptable. Okay, 2017, done and dusted.